Greetings and welcome back, everyone. This is The Angry Chicken. I'm Garrett, joined as always by Jocelyn, and it's finally happening, Jocelyn. 18.4, the next Hearthstone patch was just announced, and the big, giant, fiery, windy, cold, earthy announcement, like the meat of this announcement, is that elementals, a brand new minion type, are coming to Hearthstone Battlegrounds. We've been talking about this. We were like, well, let's see. It's elementals or it's totems. That's all that's left. Yeah. One of them are coming, and elementals seem a little easier to design around from a theme standpoint than inanimate poles made out of wood. So here we find ourselves. 20 new minions, 4 new heroes, and a Battlegrounds rating reset. I almost said MMR, but like they never once used the word MMR in any of the verbiage regarding the rating reset. So I guess that's what we're calling it now. We're not going to talk about that right now. We're going to talk about the new shinies, because I don't know about you, Jocelyn, but I am as easily distracted as a cat with shiny keys. So let's talk about these elementals. We have 4 new elemental heroes coming in with 18.4.
The one thing that I noticed right off the bat when they announced these 4 new elementals is we have double fire representation here. Where's my Earth Lord? Come on. We've got Ragnaros and Ragnaros both repping fire. And I was just like, man, but Earth is so cool. We got some minions in the Earth realm, but no earthen hero, and I'm just sad.
Yeah, let's break down the new 4 heroes that everyone can start playing tomorrow, as long as you have a Tavern Pass. Little asterisk next to that. Ragnaros the Fire Lord, you mentioned him already, Joss. Does this get the So Hot moniker?
Oh, Ragnaros is so hot.
Wonderful. Good to know. So Ragnaros' hero power is called Die Insects. It's a passive hero power that reads, after you kill 20 enemy minions, get Sulfurous, which just makes me go, what's Sulfurous? And luckily they thought to put that in the notes. Sulfurous is another passive hero power that reads, at the end of your turn, give your left and rightmost minions +4/+4.
Because you have to kill 20 enemy minions, which is assuming no tokens, then you are basically having to kill 3 full warbands worth, right? Assuming they don't have any tokens. So
right.
That seems like it might take a little while, but if tokens are popular in the meta, which they seem to be right now, this seems like it could get activated quite early, actually.
Yes, that's kind of my thought as well, is that I don't think this is going to be coming online as late as we may think, because this isn't like kill enemy minions and win. Like, you could be losing the entire game, but as long as you somehow murder 20 minions, which is not, I don't see that as a tall ask, you're going to activate this hero power, and you're going to start buffing your board by +8/+8 every turn.
Every turn. Yeah.
Like that is absolutely huge. Without getting too far into the weeds, there's no nerfs to Jandice or anything really that people are concerned about in Battlegrounds right now in this 18.4 announcement. And I'm already looking at this going, maybe this is why, because these are going to be really large minions in theory, providing this works out. And for some reason we find ourselves in a meta where folks aren't drafting Death Rattle token spawning minions or just token minions early in the game, which I find unlikely.
I feel like this is almost a counter Deathwing hero, right? Like, Deathwing is the pick. Like, that's the way to both play as Deathwing and kind of counter against Deathwing, is to use token minions, whether to put them on your board to try to counter what Deathwing's doing, or Deathwing himself always wants, as many tokens as he can get. So Rag's like, sure, bring on the tokens. I'll kill all those things. And before you know it, mine are way too big and beefy to care about your plus attack.
This seems really strong. I think this might be a new minion that we're all going on Reddit and asking for nerfs on.
A new hero.
Or hero, not minion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This might be the new hate.
This is Hearthstone. We've had 2 Ragnaros minions at this point. Which is double the amount of Ragnaros heroes we've had at this point. So. But yeah, I can't wait to play some games with Ragnaros, because this seems very good. Moving right along, Chen Valla is coming in as a new potential hero, providing you actually find Chen Valla in the offerings to you in a game of Battlegrounds. Chen Valla's hero power is called Avalanche. It's passive, and it reads, after you play 3 elementals, reduce the cost of upgrading Bob's Tavern by 2. Hey, Joss, historically, have we liked economy manipulation? Remind me.
Absolutely. And the thing that gets me really excited about this, like when you first read Chen Valla, you're just kind of like, oh, that doesn't maybe seem, you have to play 3 minions. That's a pretty big investment. And you have to go really hard down that elemental chain in order to get this discount. The discount doesn't seem all that big, except when you actually look at the elemental minions that we're going to be doing in a moment. The elementals really play off of, how many of you played this turn, randomly generating elementals to your hand. There's lots of different ways, I think, to activate this hero power that maybe we weren't expecting, or, we're not used to playing with this elemental playstyle. So I actually think Chen Valla might be better than we think, but is going to very much rely on elementals. So, but I think it's going to be easier than like having to buy 3 elemental minions.
I agree entirely, considering there are only 2 tier 1 elementals, and both of them make things cheaper or just give you free minions in some way.
Yes.
So I think this is going to be a decent like pigeonhole hero power, right? Because this is forcing you down an elemental path if you want to get any value at all out of this hero power. But in terms of the ask, I don't think this is a big one now that we've seen what elementals can do.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the type of heroes that are historically not offered if elementals aren't in the drafting pool.
Yes, and you also don't need to actually do them all in one turn either. That's the other piece. Is it's much like Kael'thas's hero power. It just remembers when you've played elementals. Once you hit 3, you get your tavern tier discount. So I don't know, like 2 gold off a tavern tier, that's going to add up really quickly.
I like this. I want to play this. This is the type of thing that gets me excited about a hero power without me thinking it's broken. This isn't the kind of thing I look at and go, oh, it's going to get nerfed. I think Rag already looks like something that might need to get toned down a bit.
Poor Rag.
But Chen Valla here, this looks fair to me, but also doable and not a huge ask. So Ragnaros is up as the 3rd out of the 4 new LML heroes with a hero power called Tavern Lightning, which is going to cost 2 gold. And it reads, give a random friendly minion stats equal to your tavern tier. This...
So terrible at first.
Yes.
Crazy late game.
Yeah. I would say I'm excited about this at tier 4 onward.
Although it does say a random friendly minion, which then starts to give it, like, especially when we're talking about Rag, like when you compare those two, he's just getting +8/+8 for free. Granted, there might be some positioning things, much like we talk about with Illidan, where you aren't necessarily positioning things ideally for how you might want to in a comp, based on what's on the outsides of your warband. So, I mean, there's that slight downfall to Rag, but just the stats for free is crazy. So then when you look at Ragnaros and you think, okay, even when they're all the way to the top tavern tier, so even when we're getting +6/+6, he's still paying 2 and it's not targeted. I feel like this might be the kind of thing that needs to get buffed to be a targeted friendly minion instead of a random friendly minion.
Yeah, that's where my brain goes as well. It seems the most undertuned by a landslide victory, like on a scale of Jandice to Galakron. This is way closer to Galakron to my mind than Jandice.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's I mean, this is the type of thing that you can look at and you can see how it can be tweaked in the future. And we've never really had the developers talk about their like end goal for hero balance within Battlegrounds, if they even want all of the heroes to be at a somewhat close power level. Over in regular Hearthstone, they are very clear that they don't want all cards to be equally powerful.
Yes,
and that makes a lot of sense. It's the thing that is very common in card game design. So I'm kind of curious if that's a thing here in Battlegrounds as well. All I can add is my thought, which is when you get stuck with 4 low tier heroes, it feels bad. And then finally, Alakir the Windlord is our fourth and final new elemental hero with a hero power called Swatting Insects, which is also passive and reads, start of combat, give your leftmost minion Wind Fury, Divine Shield, and Taunt. And so this is another one I look at with an eyebrow raise because historically these positionally specific hero powers are bad. They haven't worked out for Illidan, and he hasn't been adjusted, and it's still not working out for Illidan. Still a pretty low average placement hero when you look at statistics over on a site like HS3 Play. And then original Lich King also comes to mind because the reborn that Lich King gave used to be specific to the position of a minion, and old Lich King was very low in the stats compared to new Lich King, which is tier 1. That being said, if you have Wind Fury, you want Divine Shield, and this is giving it to you.
Yeah, you want to get those 2 attacks out of any minion, right? So I think this is so on point. This is so Alakir OG Hearthstone version. Like I love this flavor wise, and then I think it's half decent. Other than, like you say, being position restricted might be a problem. I mean, if you don't attack first, like if it's a coin flip between 2 full boards, then there's always the chance your opponent will attack first. And because this has taunt, then you're going to lose the Divine Shield and possibly not get the Wind Fury, which then again makes this even worse. So I'm kind of on the fence about this. I'll have to see how it actually plays out. But I mean, Divine Shield and Taunt, just historically within Battlegrounds, is a really powerful combination. And sometimes it can, absorb a couple of attacks, even if it's a very small minion. It absorbs a couple of attacks and lets you get through the first half of your warband. And that can sometimes be the difference between winning and losing. So I think that this is just powerful because, again, it's a passive. It doesn't have a cost to it. So yeah, I think this one's interesting, but maybe potentially not great just because we're tied into positioning. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, when I look at Alakir, I want to talk about Ragnaros almost in the same breath because these are both positionally based like hero powers. Ragnaros just seems powerful like on paper because this is a +4/+4. I am assuming they're keeping because it's like it doesn't say for the next combat or start of combat like Alakir's does. And in a pre-Macaw world, I would look at this and be like, oh, this is interesting because if you're trying to make like the beast's endgame of double Goldrin death rattles off of Baron, then Alakir kind of throws a wrench in that by giving Divine Shield. Ragnaros kind of throws a wrench in that by making your Goldrin bigger. But we have Macaw, which is kind of disgusting with Alakir's hero power, and frankly Ragnaros's, because your Macaw may live and get a second attack, and you don't care. And also, again, on the Ragnaros front, there's an interesting kind of play with that hero power where you can just move your minions around if you're kind of done buffing them +4/+4. You can kind of put them on the end for a single turn, buff them, and then move them and get someone else to buff. If you want to play that kind of thing, and is the sort of thing you're probably going to be keeping in the back of your mind as you start going up against either warbands are underpowered or a dead player like a ghost.
Yeah, using that turn to put a buff on something that maybe isn't ideal to be in the first or last position. Absolutely. And I think the one thing, again, speaking of how we might see things change and buff in the future, is, taking Alakir's hero power and instead of making that at the start of combat, make that a buff that sticks, turn after turn so that you can cycle through your minions. That might be too strong, but cycle through your minions, even if it was like give the leftmost minion Wind Fury, Divine Shield, or Taunt, but then it was a buff that sticks. That I think would also be would be really interesting because this is I'm on the fence.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's something about Alakir I still find quite interesting. Like, I think I would like this more if it didn't have taunt. Because then it's like, well, it doesn't matter if you attack first or second. You know what's going to be happening. Like whoever attacks first is, outside of very specific cases like jugglers or bombs going places that you don't expect them, and you didn't go to attack first. You know what your first attacking minion, like what's going to happen. Interesting stuff. I like these heroes.
Which one is your favorite? Which one are you hoping for?
Oh, Ragnaros.
Day one out the gate. Oh,
Ragnaros. 100% Ragnaros. Yeah. I love big minions. I absolutely love giant freaking minions. And Ragnaros, to me, looks guaranteed to just start getting big chonky boys out on the board. And I like that. And like everything we just talked about. And now, however, my favorite way to win right now is like the Macaw Guldran comp. Because like when you actually assemble it, when you actually pull it off, you feel like a god. I'm gonna give a note, like a little footnote for Alakir, because I kind of really want that to happen, but I may be skipping him if beasts aren't in the draft.
Fair enough. And that's something we should mention as well with the addition of the additional minion type, the elementals, to Battlegrounds, is that now we're going to be seeing 2 minion types leaving from the Battlegrounds lobby every time. So there's now, less of a chance of a certain minion type actually appearing. So yeah, maybe if there's no beasts, you don't go Alakir, because that was the first comp I think that jumped into my mind too, is something that you want attacking first and possibly multiple times. So that's going to be an interesting day one try for me, I think, as long as beasts are in the lobby.
Rad. Well, here's hoping that we actually get offered them, and it isn't like I believe both of our histories with new heroes, which is not seeing them very often. I got pretty lucky with the pirate ones, but
I was gonna say Eudora took me like 3 weeks, and I never even got to play her like pre-nerf.
Yep. The betting Barov, I can never remember his first name. I've still only seen him twice.
Isn't he just Lord Barov?
Oh, it is just Lord Barov, isn't it? Yeah, there's too many Barovs. I get them all confused.
There are, yeah.
I just call him betting Barov, and I love that play, and I would like more of it, please. But I've only had him offered to me twice, and one time he was up against Jandice. Guess who I picked?
Yeah.
So, whatever the case is, a reminder that players with the Tavern Pass are going to have early access to these new heroes before they're released to everyone on October 13th. However, starting today, it was announced that the price of the Tavern Pass is being reduced like it was in the past. So it's going to stay at that reduced price for the remainder of what they are referring to as the Scholomance expansion cycle. We're kind of used to this by now. This is really the first time we're coming into this, having experienced it in the past, right? We now know the cadence of Battlegrounds updates, which is, a constructed expansion hits, and then, 2+ months later, we get a major update to Hearthstone Battlegrounds, and along with it, a discount on the Tavern Pass.
Right, which I think feels really good for Battlegrounds. Like this is when I would want to see like, hey, we're doing this super cool new thing, but alongside this super cool new thing, we're also making it much cheaper for you to engage with it. So I think that this is a really good thing for the just general Battlegrounds development cycle. It feels really good. I'm glad that they are doing the discount again for the Tavern Pass. I think that's really important because there's a whole lot of value that you lose out on by, like purchasing halfway through an expansion cycle, since those benefits don't carry over. So I think they're making all the right calls here, and I'm looking forward to playing with the new elemental heroes.
So am I. I think this is a good place to kind of wrap up this discussion. Now, this is going to be an interesting week. We got so much freaking news, Jocelyn, that our next video coming to the channel will be us just running through all of the elemental minions, because there's 20 of them. Well, technically 19 elemental minions and 1 non-elemental minion. More on that in that video. But until then, we're going to wrap this up with the elemental heroes. Hope you enjoyed it. Curious what your thoughts are. Does anyone have a good argument for anything other than Ragnaros being clearly the strongest freaking elemental hero on paper? Okay, let me know below in the comments. I'm going to be keeping an eye on it. Other than that, if you want to support this show, what we're doing here on The Angry Chicken, check out patreon.com/TAC, where you're going to get some perks like access to our patron-only Discord and get to hang out with other Hearthstone nerds that are very friendly people. We just wrapped up our tournament, as a matter of fact, Jocelyn, and our patrons got early access to sign up for that tournament. And it was just a lot of fun, even though I got knocked out in the first round, just like you said I would.
I feel like I totally jinxed you. I don't know if I'm psychic or if I'm just super duper bad luck, but Garrett, I am so sorry. I said it as a joke.
No, it's actually neither of those things, Joss. It's just that you're a big meanie. So that's what happened. In the back of my mind, I was just like, oh man, I was gonna play correctly, but Jocelyn put all this down in my head.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Go check out patreon.com/TAC. If you want to write into the show, we also have an email, tacpodcast@gmail.com. And other than that, all the YouTube things, like, subscribe, ring the bell. Still hearing from folks that they're subscribed but not hearing or being notified when we put up new videos. That's what the bell is for. Give it a ring. So thank you, everybody. We really enjoyed everyone's feedback on our new video format last week, and we're moving forward with it. Until next time, job's done.
Job's done.